Greetings, 8th graders. Welcome to Big Idea C, and really the only question on the docket, which is C1. This will be a quick review because it doesn't take long. And after immersing yourself in the School of Rocks for a couple weeks, I'm thinking that the processes here are going to jump out to you pretty quickly. C1 it basically comes down to this worksheet right here. The main question I think we ought to ask ourselves is, are old sayings like rock solid and set in stone, are those really real? I mean, are those honest? When you look at the handout that we did on the rock cycle, of course you see the different paths that you have here. You could have an igneous rock, for example, that goes through weathering and erosion, becomes sediments, eventually gets compacted and cemented together, glued together, and forms into a sedimentary rock. And that sedimentary rock could be put under high pressure and high temperatures and could undergo chemical reactions and end up becoming a metamorphic rock. Then it's also possible that metamorphic rock could continue to heat up until it melts and it becomes molten, and it finally cools and hardens and turns into an igneous rock. And of course, you could go around in this circle. An igneous rock could then turn around and become metamorphosed. A sedimentary rock could end up melting. A metamorphic rock could end up becoming another metamorphic rock. There are many different pathways here. So you look at the first couple questions on the sheet, and the questions kind of talk you through here. Like when rocks are subjected to weathering and erosion on the surface, what do they end up becoming? And I think you can see pretty quickly they become sedimentary rocks. The second question is, when rocks melt, what kind of rocks do they become? And if a rock is melting and it becomes molten, really, once it cools and hardens, it's destined to become an igneous rock. And then the third question on here, what happens to rocks when they're subjected to high temperatures and great pressures? And yeah, you guessed it, it's right down here. It will end up becoming a metamorphic rock. And then the questions on the next page. You know, what happens according to the diagram if a sedimentary rock is formed? What happens to it? And I think if you look here, you're going to see pretty quickly that you're destined to become, well, could become another sedimentary rock, could become an igneous rock, could end up becoming a metamorphic rock. The same is true for an igneous rock. It could become metamorphic, it could become sedimentary, or it could remelt and become igneous again. Or a metamorphic rock, for that matter, could erode and become sedimentary, it could melt and become igneous, or it could undergo metamorphism a second time and become a second metamorphic rock. In essence, every different rock on the rock cycle can become any other kind of rock or rock type. And so rocks, ironically, are not permanent. They're not fixed. They're not set in stone, as you might say. And so the old terms like rock solid, built like a rock, set in stone, those are all kind of inaccuracies. Because to say those things, what you really mean is that rocks are going to keep changing. And so if you tell someone that something's set in stone, what you're really saying is, yeah, it's going to change. And it's going to keep on changing. And so that's really the heart of C1, is that any rock can become any other rock. And I think there's probably a big idea behind all of that, that rocks are constantly changing. The earth is constantly changing, and there's really nothing that can stop it. Rocks are the most temporary things on the earth, really, when you begin to think about it. So that wraps up Big Idea C. It's a short one, but it's easy to do. So hopefully it was something that made a lot of sense to you. And you can check out the other reviews for Big Idea B and Big Idea A. And so good luck to all of you, and we'll see you later. Bye.